Okay, those in the back, if you don't stop talking, I'm going to ask you to leave. Those who are sitting on the front row, stop talking. I'm not talking about this front row. I'm talking about that one back there. Just a little bit of information. If a lobbyist brings a piece of legislation, a rule substitute, or anything else, even with the ones and twos, if a lobbyist brings it, it goes in the trash, even if you bring the 50 copies. Okay? Goes in the trash. All right, Senator. No, you're right. Miss Earhart. And I'm going to ask your husband to leave if he don't leave me alone. So, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring for your consideration House Resolution 630, which would create a House Study Committee on Education Accreditation. Providing for public education is a primary obligation of the state of Georgia. The concept behind the study committee would be to particularly focus on opportunities to improve education and opportunity, ensure alignment with Georgia law and education policy, ensure effective and competent governance, protection of the rights of students, families, educators, and elected members of the boards of education. Most importantly, to enhance the public's trust and confidence in our educational system. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to present H.R. 630, and I ask for the committee's favorable consideration. I'll yield for any questions.
Do I see any? Okay. I don't see any questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Senator Mullis, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What a pleasure it is to be here on this short day.
Well, you know, I've already run out of red ink.
Uh-oh. Well, good.
Well, good. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Chairman, and thank you so much for the hard work that each and every member of the House and this committee has done today and this year. Well, this is Senate Resolution 504, which is recognizing our Georgia Native Americans, and it is about directing the building authority to plant a Georgia red cedar tree upon the Capitol grounds, which is in recognition of peace for the Native Americans of Georgia.
I understand y'all gonna have a big event this fall.
Yes, sir, and we'd love to have you there.
What's it gonna be like?
Well, last year was amazing. We had two red-tailed hawks came over the Twin Towers and circled us and honored us for being there that day. We'd love to have you.
Okay.
And we'll let you beat the peace drums. You look like a drummer. Or it could be. Once was. Kind of. Should be. We're allowed to be.
You know, the more he talks, the further that bill goes down. Okay, do we have any questions for the senator? Seeing none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Whew. Okay. Chairman Powell, you sitting over there, push your button. You have a substitute for Senate Bill 45, Rule Sub LC 365341S.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I bring this product of Senator Thompson, and we've actually finally made a good bill that's under his name. This bill has three parts to it. Part 1 and 2 deals with the construction contracting divisions regulated by the Secretary of State Licensing Division. This was requested by them to bring the laws into line with their board rules, cleans up grammatical errors, simplifying wording and all of that for electricians, plumbers, conditioned air, underground contractors and such. Section 3 deals with the bill that we've seen in this House earlier in the session. This deals with licensing for the APRN nurses. Currently, when the State Nursing Board issues licenses, they only issue under the LPN or an RN. And this would let them give an APRN license. So it's really in showing the honor to the people who have those 20,000 or so nurses. Doesn't have any relation to changing any licensing laws. It just gives them that designation. It also allows them to issue the handicap placards for whatever doctors they work for. In the committee, the only difference in the nurses' language and what we passed earlier when it came in, one of the members wanted to add licensed professional physical therapist to the classification that would issue these handicap placards. And that's what the bill does, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Anyone have a question for the number 10? Chairman Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the carry of the bill, Chairman Powell spoke with you yesterday about a concern that constituents were having concerning the plumbing of a house from the house out to either the septic tank or to the street, and they were concerned that it was going to cause some confusion about who could do that, whether it had to actually be a plumber to do that or if the general contractor could do that. Do you know whether or not that's been fixed?
I had asked, and they said that none of that was affected. None of the provisions of law was changed in any way. So if that was what was allowed before, it's allowed now.
Okay, thank you.
So you're saying that nothing in this as it relates to, because I have received a similar comment from the Columbus Water Works as it
Yes, sir.
relates to
We had
some plumbing issues that are, say, above ground, like meters and along this line?
One of the issues that it brought up, and we had discussed this, that some of the city utilities thought that it had some effect, and then they just opted, let's just change the wording back to what is the current law and just left it as it was.
Okay. Ms. Tankersley.
I'll also say that GMA and ACCG have all signed off
Okay.
on this supposedly, as
Ms.
well as the
Tankersley.
general contractors.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I wonder if there's a Scribner's error on line 958 on page 38. Look at 957 and 958. It just seems that it's something.
Talk a little louder.
It just seems that something may be missing. It starts out with a capital A. It says any person from installing this chapter. Anyway, just look at that line. See what you think.
What's the line number again?
958. Well, 957, 958.
Speaker Pro Tem.
I think if you go back to what it's, it follows from back, let's see, where was it? Line 943, it pertains to that. This chapter shall not prohibit 1, 2, 3. So the sentence starts on line 943.
Line what?
943.
If you go back to line 943, that's where the sentence starts, and then when you get to 958, it'll make sense.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions from the committee? Okay, seeing none. There you move. Move in a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. It passed. All right, Senate Bill 441, Chairman illustration, Rule Sub LC 345840S. 345840S. What's your number? There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this bill includes the Criminal Case Database Exchange Board, which is something that's been discussed for several years, which is the collection of data around criminal cases will ensure that GCIC is providing accurate criminal histories and that criminal case dispositions are properly tracked. There is an addition to this bill which passed out of Judiciary Non-Civil this morning, which would allow the GBI to investigate elections in circumstances where such investigation is to take place without the specific formal request of the local authority. And, Mr. Chairman, this was debated in Judiciary Non-Civil this morning. Since that bill passed, there were 2 date corrections that needed to be made. That's the reason for the Rules Committee substitute at this time. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Mr. Beverly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to bring your attention to Section 11, lines 323 to 326. This investigation, if you look at OCGA 335, 4.5, that involves the GBI looking into giving a subpoena and looking into sort of fraudulent cases. Can you tell me why this is important right now to add that section, specifically just allowing the director, the assistant director, or the deputy director of investigations to actually look at these elections?
Yeah, when there is concern about an election and it's to the point that the public maybe loses faith in the outcome of the election, having the GBI to have the tools necessary to do a full investigation that includes subpoena power is necessary in order to investigate a case accurately and to make a conclusion or a finding at the end of the investigation.
Thank you. Further question, if you don't.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The other question I have is, on line 331, upon failure of a person without lawful excuse to obey a subpoena. So what I'm getting at is, who has the ability to subpoena, and who are we actually subpoenaing? Is it going to be the person who voted? Is it the elections officials? Who is the subpoena actually directed at?
So, as I said previously, it's enabling the investigators to be able to seek out and receive the evidence necessary in order to make a conclusion at the completion of the investigation. I can't provide you specifics as to what that would entail, but trained law enforcement officers who are investigating it would need to have the tools necessary to conduct a complete investigation.
Okay. No more questions. Do I hear a move? Move and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay, all in favor raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. It passed. Okay. Chairman of Administration, you're on the roll. Let's do Senate Bill 359, Rule Subs LC 442135S. 442135S.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Senator Albert's bill that was presented previously. The only changes from the bill that was previously, Rules Committee sub that was previously passed, is first of all, this removes the section that took the cap for local supplements for Superior Court judges. By removing that section, the cap would remain in place. Members may recall that several years ago, that was a very carefully negotiated agreement reached that the cap on local supplements would be in the code. Also, the removal of that cap was not formally requested by the Council of Superior Court Judges, and therefore I'm asking to remove that section. Additionally, on lines 243 and 258, there were some questions as to whether that would apply in criminal and civil proceedings. And just to clear that up, I added that it's in criminal proceedings on both 243 and 258. That's pages 10 and 11, so that's abundantly clear. Those are the only changes from the bill as previously passed out of rules.
Mr. Williams.
Just for clarification to the author of the bill, does this apply to Superior Court judges only?
So the section that I removed applied to Superior Court judges only.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Leader Beverly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question about Section 5 on specifically line 111 through 116. Could you help me to understand what a criminal street gang is according to this definition?
Yes, sir. So criminal street gang activity is a crime already in Georgia Code, and these are just legislative findings around the focus on fighting gangs currently, and it's using language that is found in the criminal code to address that. Yes, sir.
Okay, no more questions. I hear you move.
Move.
Got a move and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. It passed. Okay, we are running about 15, 20 minutes late. So we'll go ahead and set the, I guess this is the second supplemental calendar. Listen up. SR 504, SB 45, SB 441, SB 359, SB 456, and SB 504. Let's run them again. SR 504, SB 45, SB 441, SB 359, SB 456, and SB 504. That's the calendar. See y'all on the floor.